Welcome to Business Beyond Borders, the go-to podcast for CPA firms seeking transformative insights. I'm your host, Lawrence Whittam, and with each episode we'll uncover key insights, best practices, and invaluable resources tailored for CPAs. From trending strategies to diving deep into outsourcing and offshoring, our experts will help in all areas of your business. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast today. I have a very special guest, Joey Havens, with me, who a lot of you may know. He's one of the thought leaders in the industry, especially from the cultural perspective, and again has really led one of the leading firms, top 25 firms in the nation, to where it is today. So very, very happy you've managed to join me, Joey. I would love for you to give a bit of an intro for those that don't know you, and a bit of your background. That would be great.
Well, thank you, Lawrence. And I'm tickled to death to be with you today. And just a little quick background. I've just retired from HORNE. And as you said, top 25 firm, and has spent 9 years as the managing partner. But I worked in a number of our focus areas, from healthcare to government services. And my background has really been on the consulting side, leadership development, and my interest, especially when I took over the managing partner role, was really a people-first culture and what that journey might look like and the kind of impact it might have on our firm and on our profession. By the way, we shared a lot of information along the way. I grew up in rural Mississippi. I went to work for one of the big 8 when I first got out of school. Of course, that's the big 4 today, and moved to Houston, Texas, but ended up moving back to Mississippi, which is our headquarters for HORNE are in Ridgeland, Mississippi, but we have offices across the nation and in Puerto Rico. But just glad to be here today. I love the accounting profession. I love giving back, and I know we got some exciting things to talk about today.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Joe. And again, very, very weak accents on the call. So they're very different between Mississippi and a mixture between the UK and New Jersey now. So I'm sure nobody will have trouble hearing what we're talking about. Hopefully we can understand each other perfectly fine. So, but we'd love to start out with we'll say one of the tougher questions, right? So, and again, you're an expert in this area from the culture perspective, but really when we look at the industry itself, where do you think firms are struggling from the cultural aspect that you see, and where do you see them needing to go? Because I know you've written multiple books about this as well, right? And not just in the accounting industry, but with leadership across industries. But coming from you, where do you think they are now, where they're struggling, and where they really need to be, and why it's an important focus? So loaded question, and the big home run type question right at the beginning. But I like to get it started off strong.
Well, that is a big one, and it's probably one of the driving forces why I wrote Leading with Significance, and that came out in June of last year, and it's done extremely well. And it kind of addresses the major steps for any organization, not just an accounting firm, but especially for accounting firms, and how they can become more people first, can create a magnetic energy that really starts to build on itself, and the staffing issues that everybody struggles with. It's not that you're not going to have them, but you've got a team that helps overcome some of those barriers. But to get to the heart of your question, and we'll take this in whatever direction you want, but I'll kind of lay out the big pieces of it.
Yeah.
And part of it is we've got a great story to tell, but we don't do a good job of telling a great story. So part of it is we need to amp up our game in how we impact lives, how we impact the lives of clients, and some of those personal stories, as well as the side of how people can truly reach their full potential in this profession, that it is not just numbers and sitting behind a desk. And so one of our struggles is the accounting profession is not really told a great story, not a compelling story that makes a young person coming out of college saying, "Hey, I want to get my CPA. I want to be in the accounting profession." So the story is a problem. Number two is, I think that we've done a very poor job overall of connecting with our team members in a way that creates a strong sense of belonging. People need that strong sense of belonging. They need it to have a common purpose, to understand why their work is important. And the third big leaf would be flexibility. Now, COVID ramped us forward. There are very few firms doing everything that they really needed to in flexibility. But with COVID, there was a lot more remote work, a lot more varied hours and those kind of things. So flexibility is the future of work. And we can continue to fight that. And I know some firms have gone back to, hey, you got to be in the office so many days, or you got to be in the office from 8 to 5 days a week, whatever it is that's very short-sighted, especially considering how tough staffing is going to be, to have enough people, to have people that you can retain and grow. And so flexibility is a big leaf. That's leaf number 3 that I would lay out there. And it's not just where you work, it's when you work and how you work. So it's when, where, and how. And those 3 are really big. The fourth one we probably don't need to get into today. This one's going to light a fire under some people, but
we like fires.
Our business model built on the billable hour it's a people killer. It kills innovation. It's got this big brother control aspect to it. It really hinders trust within the organization. It's just a bad people model. And quite frankly, it's a bad business model for profitability. You leave so much value that we create, so much of a difference that we make. We leave too much of that on the table because we're looking at time.
Yeah, and I think it limits them as well, right? Because then, like you said, I mean, you're limited somewhat on the time. You don't want to put in those extra hours to make sure that you're doing the best for your client. In a lot of cases, you're not going to look at extra tax incentives, tax research, or advisory services. Where can I help? You're not going to ask that question necessarily when you're in there. So completely agreed on that. That is the fiery topic. So we'll stay more away from that one for now. I think that could take a whole podcast episode. But let's expand on like the story side of it. So when you talk about the story for a CPA firm or even a business, right? How do they do that, right? So what is it that you were implementing at Horn, or you've helped other businesses do and implement from that story perspective to really get more involvement and to make the profession more attractive? What do you think firms need to be doing that they can at least take away from this and be like, okay, let me think along these lines, where these are some smaller actionable steps we can at least start taking to making the right progress?
Yeah, Lawrence, there's several things that are pretty easy steps that I see firms doing already that really make a difference. And let's start with the team itself. Simply spotlighting your team members and highlighting them on social media and who they are and like what's their hobbies and why did they get into the profession, and making them real people and having that out there on social media is a branding, and quite frankly, it's a way of providing appreciation and recognition to your team members too. They love to have that team member spotlight on them. That tells a story about, hey, this is not just Horn, a CPA firm. This is made up some pretty cool people.
Yeah.
So, that's part of telling the story. Part of the telling the story is being on campus, being out there and talking about and sharing client impact. I was with a client this last week, and they want to get on a journey of making their leadership team more effective and becoming more of a people first company. And I was able to share with them a journey that another company had of similar size, middle market company that had undertaken that over the last year, and the difference that they had from A to B, which was the end of year one, was incredible. And then telling that impact, again, the accounting profession, we touch people in a lot of different ways. It's not just tax compliance. It's not just an audit report. And all of these things affect people's lives. And I posted on LinkedIn today, think about relationships, not transactions. And that's very key. Our profession has been a transaction-oriented profession. We've been rewarded for 100 years for transactions, even though, yes, we develop relationships, but we haven't told the story about the relationship. So people stories, client stories, those are two very easy things to do. Even shooting video with your clients about, hey, what kind of impact did this project that you did with your CPA firm, what kind of impact did it have? And then having that video, that's way better than me bragging on the firm.
Yeah.
Your client telling the story and the different, well, people want to be involved with that. People can connect. Hey, this profession makes a difference in people's lives. That's what I'm talking about. Tell a better story.
Yeah, and I think you've touched on it there from the perspective of that's actually going to probably generate more client interest as well. But the bigger thing is it's actually going to showcase the real impact to now team members and other professionals as to what your firm is really doing. And it doesn't get seen, right? I mean, we talk about how many returns we've done. We talk about the size on that side, right? But a lot of these areas don't get covered very often, right? Because we're not really taking the time out to interact with our clients like that, right? To actually dig down. But personally, if you've worked on them, that you've probably helped them sleep very much better at night. You probably saved them in a lot of cases from different areas. So no, that's awesome. And where does it start? So, and like, where does it start and who needs to be the people that are doing this? Because I was actually in an event the other day, last week, and Barry Melancon was speaking, and obviously the president of the AICPA, and I think he's talking about the cultural side, and he's saying what we need to be doing as the profession, and I think somebody in the audience was then saying, yeah, but what are you guys doing for us to do that? But I personally, I think it comes down to then the firm leaders, and we need to now push it down as well. And we have to get everybody on board without why we're doing this, right? Why we're here as a firm, who we're helping and why we're helping them. And we should see it throughout the firm, right? We shouldn't be hiding even our junior employees from speaking up as to what they're doing with clients and how they're impacting clients. But what's your thought on that? Like, who should be really doing that and promoting that and pushing that out there?
Well, I believe it has to start with leadership, obviously, but it is a firm-wide initiative. It is about a compelling vision about who you're going to be and, how are you going to tell your story? And obviously you can have some extremely talented marketing people, or even outside, you can contract to have it done. But it's a matter of really wanting and understanding the power of that.
Yeah. And now you mentioned about the belonging side of it as like an important factor. And you've already touched on, like, even just with the story, like the spotlighting of team members and having real people there and promoting them on social media. And that to me will add to that belonging side of things. But what else is there that firms can do to really make sure that their culture is that of a belonging environment for their team from all aspects? Because now we're dealing with team members virtually nationwide in different cultures where we haven't before, internationally. Like, what should leaders really think about to make sure that they have that sense of belonging in the firm?
Yeah.
And again, I'm giving super loaded questions, like super easy ones, but you obviously, I just think it's very interesting. It's very difficult to really give a straight answer to it because everybody's different, but it's very important for people to hear that from somebody like yourself. So.
Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody's unique. Every firm's journey is going to be unique, but there's certainly some things we can talk about the profession as a whole that as you drill down into any size firm, you're going to find different aspects of it. And, frankly, we grew up and a lot of the owners, a lot of the leaders in firms are very technical people, and they have not developed the people skills actually to the level that they need to. That, I really believe that overall the partner ranks in the profession are ill-equipped overall to handle the people side of things, because they haven't had to be successful. If somebody left, they just hired another person. There's always, it was kind of like, we expect 20% turnover. We expect 25% turnover. Well, when you get above 20% turnover, you start to really affect your ability to serve clients in an aspect that brings real value and makes you distinctive in the marketplace. So the ability to take the time and be intentional to demonstrate how they care. If they say they're people first, if you got the thing up on the wall, it doesn't make any difference. Here's the truth. Leaders are in a fishbowl, and everybody's watching your actions. Is seeing is believing. So having the best banners up on the wall, Enron had great statements up on the wall, but the ethics and the integrity of the organization was downhill. It's the same thing in our firms. We're saying, hey, we're about flexibility. We're about family. We're about your career. And the 22-year-old or 25-year-old comes in, they're excited. They want to tell the partner what they did, and the door's closed. They're on a Zoom call all day, and then they get an email that says, by the way, we need to work Saturday. That happens too much. There's no real connection between that leader and those individuals. The people on your team, you got to know more about them. You got to know what are their aspirations. And the other thing to the sense of belonging is building confidential feedback loops so that the leadership is really understanding what's Lawrence's experience. Yeah. What is his individual unique experience? Because what you're going to find, whether you're a $2 million firm, a $400 million firm, a $1 billion firm, everybody, even in the same location, in the same department, same focus area, they're going to have different experiences. And the major driver of that experience is who they work for most of the time. Who do they report to?
Yeah.
And we really have done a very poor job of developing as mentors and coaches in the profession. So the sense of belonging is about being very intentional to connect, to demonstrate that you do care, that what their aspirations are, what they want to achieve is very important. Once people know that you care, then they will care about your client service.
Now from that, and this comes down to something that I've seen, and again, from work, I've personally been working with firms for about the past 10 years. So probably worked with, seen in some capacity about 500 firms over like the inside of it, the outside of it. And very, very few run as a business, right? A real business model. It's a professional service, right? We hire accountants because they are revenue driving, right? In the firm, really, that's the model. So that investment piece and seeing the value of different people, and they tend to actually push over accountants into external other roles like a HR professional, right? So let's say from that perspective, like, do you think firms need to invest more in that, getting somebody from outside the profession, like a HR professional that has experience working with people that is of that caliber, right? They enjoy doing that people side of it, not necessarily pushing somebody into that role with the accounting firm experience. Do you think more firms need to do that, or do you think they need to use who they've got and sort of mold them into that sort of shape?
Well, I think every situation is unique to the skills and the passions of that one individual. But overall, for the profession, when a firm starts getting to 10 million, and certainly when they hit 30 million, they need a lot of different professional skill sets. Too often we continue to hit the wall. We don't get the exponential growth. We don't get the story. We don't get the connection, because we do have an accountant, a CPA that's come up through the ranks that's trying to do everything. And we're not bringing in best practices. We're not looking outside of our profession. We're not looking outside of our firm. And so absolutely, as you hit the 10 million, 20 million, 30 million and up, you're going to find that you need more and more different professions. And quite frankly, if you're going to serve the market today, last year, we probably hired more non-accountants than we did accountants overall.
Wow. No, that's also, and that's great from the metric point of view, because I think that helps the listeners as well. Like you need to have some targets as well. Like, okay, as I'm hitting here, when do I need to think about these aspects and plan for them as you get into that stage? So that's incredibly helpful. Now, and then from the final point you mentioned, and we'll sort of wrap it up with this one, is that aspect of flexibility, right, that we need to think about. So again, what are some of these best practices? Like, again, everybody's an individual. We've got different stages of life. I think I was at the Digital CPA conference last year, and I can't remember the gentleman's name that was up on stage speaking, but about the demographics. And we've got 5 different demographics in the profession now, right, which is different than ever before, right? So knowing how to deal with each one is very difficult, right? Everybody has their own needs and requirements, but what can firms do now to essentially at least help with that flexibility aspect, to give that and make the profession a bit more attractive?
But they got to do something that's extremely hard, which starts with trusting their people. And that also will increase the sense of belonging. But when you look at what limits our ability to offer flexibility, it's about not trusting people to do their job. It's about control. It's about that you've got to be present to be productive. And flexibility is unique. It's unique to 2 or 3 different things. It's unique to the individual. It's unique to their role that they signed up for. I mean, if they signed up for a role that has them at the client's office 5 days a week, that is a specific role. And also it's unique to the team that they're on. And so that's what makes flexibility so hard. It's because it's unique to the individual, the team, and their role. But it is about when, where, and how. and it does require trust. And some of the best practices that, is clarity of expectations, regular check-ins. This is project management. This is something that the profession needs to improve our skill sets tremendously, is in project management, because then you focus more on, all right, what is the outcome? What do I need from you this week? Not, I need 40 hours.
Yeah.
I need you to connect with ABC, make sure we have all the information, get that return completed. And if it takes 5 hours, fine. If it takes 25. But the point is, start focusing on output and results and allow people to have more influence. It's not that, that they'll be able to have any flexible schedule they want, but they do need to have influence into that. And they need to be able to get to the kindergarten graduation. They need to be able to get to mom and give her medication, because you got both ends of that.
Yeah.
You got people raising and people taking care of elder care.
And I think that's you've got to let people understand what they need to do, why they need to do it. I think the why internally as a firm needs to all be on the same page, but then that how is the flexibility, right? It's going to come differently to different people, right? And to understand. And again, if they can't get it done in certain ways, you got to provide certain training if you want it done in a certain way as well, right? So, and that's been, and I appreciate you jumping on to share this, because it's been extremely helpful. I'm sure everyone's, and I'm glad that you've been able to provide some more actionable intelligence for people to really sit back and go and actually do it now. And again, that's the part of the reason for this. Like I'm very much an implementer, a doer. So I like to have things where people can go and do now and see the reaction to that, right? And they're going to have a pretty immediate reaction internally in the firm, and they'll see the results at the end of the day, right? So now, Joey, where can everybody find you now in your new role? Can you tell us, like, where would people come to, whether it's a website, whether it's your LinkedIn, where do you want people to come if they want to learn more about this area, if they need to get in touch with you to ask any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. JoeyHavens.com. You can go to joeyhavens.com and everything's there, from all of my articles and podcast publications. You can click to order the book there. Amazon, Google, Books A Million, all of those have the book. It's in Kindle, it's in audio as far as leading with significance. And then I'm out there on all the social media platforms, on LinkedIn, Joey Havens. So thank you for that. And, I invite anybody that's having a problem or a question just to reach out and contact me.
Appreciate that, Joey. And yeah, we'll post some of those aspects as well so that people can reach it through the podcast. And again, the big reason for today's interview was, again, it's that cultural side, right? When we're talking about anything staffing relating, whether it's offshore, onshore, all these aspects, like, you need to really think about the culture in your firm, right? We need to think about it as an industry itself, because we need to change, right? At the end of the day, it's a fast moving industry right now, especially since COVID. There's been a lot of shakeups as to how we embrace our teams. So, and now we're struggling with the staffing aspect as well. So now it's, okay, how do we do things to compete and make sure everybody's happy joining the firm and everybody's going to stay and retention rates go up? So very important to speak to people like Joey, listen to him. He's all over as well. So it's great to have you on here, Joey, and I appreciate it. And thank you for everybody joining Business Beyond Borders.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you for tuning in to Business Beyond Borders. I'm Lawrence Whittam, and it's been a pleasure bringing you impactful insights tailored for the modern CPA firm. Remember, the world of accounting is vast and ever evolving, and we're here to navigate it together. For more resources and episodes, don't forget to subscribe and reach out to our experts. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of your business and explore the limitless possibilities beyond borders.